The invitation. The message arrived on a Tuesday morning, transmitted through quantum channels that humanity had only recently learned to access. Commander Rachel Torres stood in the command center of Earth Defense Station Alpha, reading the elegant script that floated in holographic blue light above her desk. The words were beautiful, crafted in the universal trade language that connected 1,000 worlds across the galaxy. They spoke of peace, cooperation, and a bright future for humanity among the stars. Rachel didn't believe a single word of it. She had spent 15 years studying alien psychology and diplomatic patterns since first contact. The Galactic Alliance had watched Earth from a distance for decades, never offering help, never sharing technology, just observing like scientists studying bacteria in a petri dish. Now suddenly, they wanted to sign a peace treaty and welcome humanity into their grand community. The timing was too convenient, coming just months after humans had successfully reverse-engineered faster-than-light travel from a crashed alien probe. The War Council convened within hours in the underground bunker beneath Geneva. 20 of Earth's most brilliant military minds and diplomatic experts gathered around a table that had seen too many crisis meetings in recent years. General Marcus Stone, a veteran of 3 wars and countless special operations, spoke first. His weathered face showed the weight of protecting 8 billion lives from threats both terrestrial and cosmic. He believed the invitation was genuine, that perhaps the aliens finally recognized humanity's potential and wanted to prevent conflict before it started. Director Chen Wei of Intelligence Services disagreed completely. She had spent months analyzing intercepted alien communications, patterns that suggested the Galactic Alliance viewed humanity as a growing threat. The peaceful species of the galaxy had survived by eliminating dangerous civilizations before they could spread beyond their home systems. Earth's rapid technological advancement and natural aggression made humans a prime candidate for preemptive neutralization. The peace treaty could be nothing more than an elaborate trap to gather Earth's leaders in one place for elimination. Admiral Catherine Foster commanded the fleet of ships humanity had built in secret, vessels hidden in the asteroid belt and on the dark side of the moon. She pointed out that accepting the invitation would reveal Earth's diplomatic protocols and command structure to potential enemies. But refusing would confirm alien suspicions that humans were indeed dangerous and uncooperative. They were trapped between showing weakness and proving hostility. The debate continued for hours, with each expert presenting evidence and counter-arguments. Finally, President Sarah Mitchell made the decision that would shape humanity's future. Earth would send a delegation to sign the treaty, but not the delegation the aliens expected. Instead of politicians and diplomats, they would send their best soldiers, trained in combat and deception, disguised as peaceful representatives. If the aliens wanted peace, humanity would give it to them. If they wanted war, humanity would be ready. Rachel Torres was chosen to lead the mission. Her public credentials made her the perfect ambassador, with degrees in xenobiology and linguistics, published papers on interspecies cooperation, and a reputation for patience and wisdom. What the aliens wouldn't know was her true background as Earth's most decorated Special Forces commander, trained in 37 forms of combat and tactical warfare. Her team of 23 delegates was similarly selected, each one appearing to be scientists, cultural experts, or administrative staff, but actually comprising Earth's deadliest warriors and strategic minds. The preparation took 3 weeks of intense training. Each team member learned to perfectly mimic the behavior of their cover identity, while maintaining combat readiness. Their formal diplomatic clothing was woven with carbon nanotube fibers that could stop most energy weapons. Their ceremonial gifts contained components that could be assembled into weapons and defensive equipment. Even their jewelry and personal items served dual purposes, from communication devices to explosive charges. The journey to Nexus Point Station took 4 days aboard the diplomatic cruiser Harmony, a ship that appeared unarmed but carried hidden weapon systems throughout its hull. As they approached the massive station floating in neutral space, Rachel studied its design through the observation windows. Nexus Point was a marvel of engineering, a sphere 10 kilometers in diameter with docking ports for hundreds of ships. Its surface gleamed with a metal that seemed to shift between silver and gold, depending on the angle of nearby stars. The reception committee waited in the main docking bay. 3 species had sent representatives to witness this historic moment. The Quellans stood 7 feet tall with elongated limbs and faces that resembled abstract art, more than biology. Their leader, Overseer Vex, moved with a fluid grace that belied his species' incredible strength. The Menti were smaller, barely reaching human chest height, but their enlarged craniums housed brains capable of processing information at superhuman speeds. Ambassador Crix watched the arriving humans with 4 eyes that never seemed to blink. The Volari appeared almost human except for their pale blue skin and the crystalline structures that grew from their shoulders like wings. High Chancellor Zira smiled with too many teeth as the human delegation disembarked. Rachel returned their greetings with practiced diplomatic charm, bowing at precisely the correct angle for each species according to their customs. Her team spread out behind her in a formation that looked ceremonial, but actually provided optimal fields of fire and defensive positions. Every smile was calculated, every gesture rehearsed to perfection. They were sheep walking into what might be a slaughterhouse, but these sheep had titanium teeth hidden beneath their wool. The aliens led them through corridors that seemed to stretch forever, past windows showing the infinite darkness of space punctuated by distant stars. Rachel noticed details that confirmed her suspicions. Security checkpoints that could become kill boxes, ventilation systems that could flood sections with gas, structural weak points that could decompress entire areas. The station was designed as much for containment as for diplomacy. They entered the treaty hall, a magnificent chamber with a domed ceiling that displayed a real-time map of the galaxy. Thousands of star systems glowed in their appropriate colors, with trade routes marked in flowing lines of light. A curved table dominated the center, with the treaty documents already displayed on integrated screens. The arrangement of chairs put the humans in the middle, surrounded by the alien delegations with limited access to exits. Overseer Vex gestured to their seats with one elongated arm. The ceremony would begin soon, he explained, once the other witnesses arrived from their ships. Rachel nodded graciously while her tactical mind counted guards, memorized positions, and calculated response times. Her team took their seats, each one subtly checking their hidden equipment while maintaining pleasant conversation with their alien counterparts. As they waited, Ambassador Crix began asking seemingly innocent questions about Earth's defense capabilities, population distributions, and technological development. Rachel answered with carefully prepared half-truths, revealing just enough to seem cooperative while concealing humanity's true strength. She noticed how the Menti's 4 eyes tracked every micro-expression on her face, searching for deception. High Chancellor Zyra spoke about the benefits of joining the Galactic Alliance, the trade opportunities and technological exchanges that awaited humanity, but there was something predatory in her tone, like a spider describing the comfort of its web to a fly. The crystalline structures on her shoulders pulsed with an inner light that Rachel recognized as a communication system, likely coordinating with forces elsewhere on the station. More aliens entered the hall, filling observation balconies that surrounded the treaty table. Rachel counted at least 12 different species, all watching the humans with expressions that ranged from curiosity to barely concealed hostility. The trap was almost ready to spring. The question was whether the hunters knew their prey had fangs of its own. The moment came when Overseer Vex stood to begin the ceremony. His elongated form cast strange shadows across the treaty table as he spoke about peace and cooperation between species. Rachel noticed the subtle shift in positioning as guards moved to block every exit. The energy readings on her hidden sensors spiked, indicating weapon systems coming online throughout the station. The trap was beginning to close. Ambassador Crix interrupted the ceremony with words that confirmed every suspicion. The Galactic Alliance had decided that humanity posed too great a threat to galactic stability. This gathering was not for signing a treaty, but for the peaceful surrender of Earth's sovereignty. Humanity would accept Alliance oversight of all technological development, military capabilities would be eliminated, and human expansion beyond the solar system would be permanently restricted. Refusal would result in the immediate elimination of Earth's leadership and a planetary quarantine that would last millennia. Rachel stood slowly, her hands visible and empty, a small smile playing at her lips. The aliens expected fear, anger, or desperate negotiation. Instead, she laughed, a sound that echoed through the treaty hall and caused several aliens to step back in confusion. She looked directly at Overseer Vex and spoke words that would become legendary throughout the galaxy. Did you really think we didn't know? Did you honestly believe that humanity, A species that has spent its entire existence preparing for threats would walk blindly into such an obvious trap? We intercepted your communications months ago. We know about your previous peaceful interventions with 17 other species. We know about the graves of civilizations you've left scattered across the galaxy in the name of stability. The aliens exchanged glances of alarm. High Chancellor Zyra's crystalline structures flared with rapid communication pulses, calling for security forces. But Rachel continued, her voice carrying the confidence of someone holding cards her opponents hadn't seen. You invited humanity to this station to eliminate us as a threat, but you made one critical error in your calculations. You assumed we would come here as diplomats seeking peace. You never considered that we might come as warriors pretending to seek peace. With those words, Rachel's team moved with practiced precision. Their formal clothing split apart to reveal advanced combat armor beneath. Components hidden in their diplomatic cases assembled into weapons unlike anything the aliens had seen. Dr. Marcus Webb, who had played the role of a nervous scientist, now stood revealed as Colonel Webb, Earth's premier weapons specialist. His briefcase transformed into a directed energy weapon that could punch through starship hulls. Lisa Park dropped her friendly cultural attaché persona and became Major Park, Tactical Operations Commander. Her ceremonial jewelry reconfigured into a personal shield generator and targeting system that painted every hostile in the room with quantum markers. Jake Morrison, the quiet security chief, activated the nanoblade hidden in his ceremonial sword, its edge vibrating at frequencies that could cut through molecular bonds. But the true surprise came from outside the station. The diplomatic cruiser Harmony shed its peaceful disguise as hidden panels opened to reveal weapon systems that violated every known treaty and galactic law. Simultaneously, 12 more human ships dropped out of hyperspace around Nexus Point, each one bristling with weapons that humanity had developed in secret. The sheep had not walked into the slaughterhouse alone. They had brought the entire pack with them. Admiral Foster's voice echoed through the station's communication system. This is the Earth Defense Fleet. We have Nexus Point Station surrounded and targeted. Any aggressive action against our diplomatic team will result in the complete destruction of this facility. You have 30 seconds to stand down all weapons and security forces. The aliens in the treaty hall stood frozen in shock. They had expected to trap a primitive species just learning to walk among the stars. Instead, they faced warriors who had spent centuries perfecting the art of war against their own kind, and were now ready to demonstrate those skills on a galactic stage. Overseer Vex tried to salvage the situation, his voice trembling with barely controlled fear. This is an act of war against the Galactic Alliance. You cannot hope to stand against the combined might of 1,000 worlds. Rachel walked around the treaty table, her weapon trained on the Quellan leader. We don't want to stand against you. We came here genuinely hoping for peace, but we also came prepared for war. You see, humanity has a saying, if you want peace, prepare for war. We've been preparing for this war since the moment we learned we weren't alone in the universe. She gestured to the screens showing the map of the galaxy. With a few commands from her neural interface, the display changed to show intelligence humanity had gathered on every major alliance world. Defense grids, fleet positions, population centers, industrial complexes, all mapped in perfect detail. The message was clear. Humanity had not been idle during their years of observation. We know where your shipyards are hidden in the Vega system. We know about the antimatter production facilities on Kepler 442b. We know the rotation schedules of your defense fleets and the personal habits of every Alliance commander. We've had stealth probes throughout your territory for years, watching, learning, preparing. Ambassador Crix's four eyes widened in disbelief. Impossible. Our sensors would have detected any unauthorized vessels. Colonel Webb stepped forward. Your sensors are calibrated to detect technology you understand. Humanity developed along a different path. While you focused on energy manipulation and quantum mechanics, we perfected stealth, deception, and kinetic weapons. Your shields are designed to stop energy beams and plasma bolts. How well do you think they'll stand up to a tungsten rod traveling at 90% the speed of light? The demonstration was brief but decisive. One of the human ships fired a single projectile at a derelict satellite floating near the station. The impact released energy equivalent to a small nuclear weapon, vaporizing the target completely. The message was clear. Humanity's primitive kinetic weapons were anything but primitive when properly applied. High Chancellor Zyra found her voice. What do you want? Rachel returned to her seat at the treaty table, her weapon disappearing back into her clothing as quickly as it had appeared. What we've always wanted. Peace. Real peace, not servitude disguised as protection. We want trade, cultural exchange, and mutual respect. We want to explore the galaxy without interference and contribute to the community of civilizations. But we will not accept chains, no matter how golden you make them appear. The negotiation that followed was unlike any in Alliance history. Humanity had turned the trap into a demonstration of strength, while somehow maintaining the possibility of peaceful resolution. Rachel presented Earth's counterproposal, a genuine peace treaty that recognized humanity's sovereignty and right to self-defense. Trade agreements that didn't restrict human technological development. Cultural exchange programs that went both directions, allowing humans to learn from alien civilizations while sharing their own knowledge. The aliens had come to the station expecting to neutralize a threat. Instead, they found themselves negotiating with a species that had spent its entire evolution preparing for this moment. Every war, every conflict, every challenge humanity had faced had been training for the day they would stand among the stars and demand their place as equals. Overseer Vex studied the human commander with new respect. You could have destroyed this station the moment you arrived. Why didn't you? Rachel smiled genuinely for the first time since entering Nexus Point. Because we're not monsters, despite what your profile suggests. We're warriors, yes, but we're also dreamers, explorers, and builders. We've seen what happens when civilizations choose destruction over cooperation. Our history is written in blood, but our future doesn't have to be. The treaty signed that day was different from any the Galactic Alliance had negotiated before. It recognized humanity not as subjects to be controlled, but as equals to be respected. The clause that would become known as the Earth Doctrine stated that any attack on human vessels or colonies would be met with overwhelming force, but any gesture of friendship would be returned tenfold. As the human delegation prepared to leave Nexus Point, Ambassador Crix approached Rachel privately. How long have you been planning this? Rachel paused at the airlock leading to their ship. Since the moment we discovered we weren't alone. We hoped for friends but prepared for enemies. Today we found both. The question now is which one you choose to be. The Earth Defense Fleet departed Nexus Point in formation, their weapons powered down but ready. The station's sensors tracked them until they jumped to hyperspace, carrying news that would spread throughout the galaxy. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage not as conquerors or subjects, but as something far more dangerous. A species that understood both war and peace and had mastered the balance between them. Back on Earth, the world waited anxiously for news. When Rachel's report arrived, it was broadcast on every channel, every network, every communication system on the planet. Humanity had not only survived first contact with a hostile galaxy, but had turned potential destruction into opportunity. The peace treaty was real, but more importantly, the galaxy now knew that humanity would not go gentle into that good night. The age of human expansion had truly begun, and the galaxy would never be the same.